The heart of God aches because no matter what he does, it's not enough. As soon as we think he's not doing something the way we want it, we turn to our own devices. We cheat. We claim another daddy that has no eyes to see or ears to hear. One who only appears to be able to give us what we want and cause it to sustain itself. Then, when tragedy strikes, the same God we ditched is the same one who is wrong. Why? What does he have to do to win our hearts? What does he have to do to win your heart? Who needs to be healed? Who do you want to marry? What job or business do you want? What car do you want to drive? Did you answer? Okay, seriously, did you give an answer? What is it that God has to do to permanently win your heart? What does he need to do to provide enough evidence for you to say, you know what? Come hell or high water, I'ma stay over here. Tell him now what you need for him to win you over. Now that you've told him, either verbally or in your heart, he'll do it. But I wanna tell you something. It's not going to last. And you will end up right back where you are today, listening to this recording. The person who gets healed will eventually pass away because death is imminent and you'll never be ready. None of us will ever be ready, not even in 100 years. If I could have kept my parents for another 60, 70 years, it still would not have been long enough. The marriage could be to who you want it to be to. But let me ask you, how many people do you know that went ahead of God and the doors opened and they just married somebody who they thought God had sent, and the marriage turned out to be a bust? The husband was abusive, or the woman wasn't doing this, or they had no communication. They found out that beyond their lust for one another, there actually was no chemistry. And the marriage broke down and ended in 2 years, 3 years. I've seen it time and time and time again. That job, as soon as the salary is no longer good enough, or your boss starts getting on your nerves and they start writing you up, or you feel that the atmosphere is no longer conducive to what God wants to do in your life, your state of contentment is completely shot. It no longer exists. The business may not turn over the way that you thought it would, but you asked for it. It will again be God's fault for giving you what you asked for. The car is going to need repairs. Okay, it's going to get scratched. It's going to get dings. There may be scratches on the inside. There may be stains. And you need to pay to get it shampooed. And so all of these things will make you say that this thing that was once a blessing is now a burden. It's a hunk of junk. And you want God to make a way. Those things that you asked for in your heart, when I said, what does God have to do to win your heart? Those things are not going to cut it. They will not win your heart over to God. Only a relationship with the Father will satisfy the longing in your heart. Because the longing in your heart is for something that is not temporal, but eternal. And only God can reach the place that needs filling. He's the only one who can reach that place. Your car can't reach it. The love of your family can't reach it. Your money can't reach it. You ever hear the story of Poor Richard? Poor Richard had all of this money, and he was envied by all of the homeless people. They watched him get out of his limo and his fancy suit and go into his fancy office building and go home to his big mansion, and he killed himself. Why? Because he didn't have what those poor people had. They had relationships with people. They had something that money can't buy. Clothes can't attract to you. No matter what you say or think, no matter how poised you are, no matter what your degree is, it will never amount to what it's like to have a relationship with God. For many of us, God is like that person that we just refuse to get to know. And so we never see how great and wonderful and magnificent and awesome they are. So we just keep walking by them every day as if they're nobody and nothing. When things fail around you, your connection to God, the Father, will bring comfort and even a different attitude towards those physical things. The children of Israel made the same mistake over and over again. God would bail them out, but they still complained and switched to another partner who appeared ready to appease their greed and spoiled nature. I guess it is God's fault for always loving us and giving us what we ask for, even when it's not really what He wants us to have, and we're like, well, just give it to me. And He's like, all right. But if you waited, one more year, it would have been 10 times better. I mean, let's run down what He gave us. He gave us life, His Son, continual victory, weapons to fight what comes to sway us, authority, power, love. He gave us grace and mercy. He even gave us a rule book containing His promises. And if that's not enough, He gave us evidence all around us. We've got stories of our own testimonies, the testimonies of people we know, people we see in the street, we hear in stories. It's all over social media. It's all over the internet. You can find evidence of God. What more will it take to win our hearts? The Father is listening.